The Wall Street Journal just revealed why Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg went full MAGA. He wants the United States government to bail him out of an FTC lawsuit. We'll have a lot more details to cover, along with one hilarious piece of drama. But Cenk, does any of this come as a surprise to you, or is this the biggest of course of all time?
Yeah, so the issue isn't Mark Zuckerberg kissing Trump's ass. At this point, that's apparently become fairly commonplace among tech executives. The real issue is the system that makes it lucrative to kiss his ass, because that's not how democracy is supposed to work, but unfortunately these days it does. So let's tell you the whole story.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's what you need to know. Meta is facing a lawsuit from the Federal Trade Commission that was actually started during the first Trump administration. The FTC, along with 46 states, accused Meta of gobbling up smaller companies to squash competition. The trial is scheduled for April 14th. And if the FTC is successful in arguing its case, then Meta could be forced to divest from WhatsApp or Instagram. The current FTC commissioner, Andrew Ferguson, has stated that he wants to see this lawsuit through. In an interview with Bloomberg last month, Ferguson said, "We don't intend to sort of take our foot off the gas when speaking about the Meta case. We're gearing up for trial," he said. "We've got some of the FTC's best lawyers on it, and we're getting ready to go." This trial has been 5 years in the making. Now, Zuckerberg isn't just trying to avoid this trial. He also wants the Trump administration to protect him from a regulatory decision that the EU is likely to make soon. The expected decision relates to whether Meta should be forced to give Facebook and Instagram users the option of accessing those services free without seeing personalized ads, something that would undercut the main way Meta makes money. According to the securities filings, Europe makes up about a quarter of Meta's revenue. Zuckerberg has bent over backwards for Trump since the president's re-election. He has scrapped Facebook's moderation rules and the company's diversity initiatives, criticized the Biden administration on Joe Rogan's show, and appointed Dana White to the board of Meta. Meanwhile, Meta has settled a lawsuit that Trump brought against the company for $25 million and donated $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund. Zuckerberg clearly wants a return on his investment and has repeatedly visited the White House, maybe a little too often. Zuckerberg was at the White House on Wednesday, his third visit during Trump's presidency, the People said. Some of Trump's aides have grown frustrated at the company's lobbying strategy, believing it has been too aggressive, some of the People said. Cenk, what do you make of this?
Yeah, so I wanted to discuss the issues that Zuckerberg wants addressed. That's the less important part, honestly. The most important part is how is he going to get these favors from the Trump administration? Because that's where the corruption comes in, right? So I actually agree with Zuckerberg on a lot. On the ad rule in Europe, I'm on Facebook's side, not on Europe's side. So on scrapping the diversity initiatives, I'm against Facebook on that. There's no need to scrap diversity initiatives because Trump's trying to bully you. Look, if you didn't believe him in the first place, that's interesting. But then I guess that means you were being political under the Biden administration, right? So you should have principles and not waver based on the administration. The moderation rules, that's a super hard one. And that's a very, very tough balancing act. So I don't have a lot of critique there for Facebook, although I understand the critique. So he criticized the Biden administration under Joe Rogan's show. So what? Oh, he criticized Biden. Ooh, there's nothing wrong with that. Appointed Dana White to the board of Meta. I don't care, that's his business, right? So why do I care who he appoints to his board? So, okay. Settled a lawsuit that Trump brought against the company for $25 million. Hate it. That's part of the payoff. Oh, we were so wrong for doing something completely rational. We will now give you $25 million that you can put in your pocket. But this is not a bribe, even though we would like all the cases against us to go away. Nah, it looks like a bribe. And by the way, Elon gave him $10 million through X for the same thing. Oh, X has been so unfair to you. Has it? Has it? Okay. And I'm not sure that Facebook was unfair to him at all, let alone a lawsuit to a politician and giving him $25 million. Hate it. And donated $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund. Well, that's part of the problem of the corruption. They're trying to find 18 different ways to funnel money to Trump. And eventually, Zuckerberg, if it gets bad enough, will just go to crypto, right? And go, oh, you're Meme coin looks so lucrative. I would like to put a lot of my money into it as long as you drop all the cases, right? So you can see there, in terms of the substance of the policies, I agree and disagree in parts. It's not that important to me, at least, because I'm not Facebook. He can do what he wants, right? But what is important is, if I've got issues, legal issues, and I somehow get legalized bribes to the president, those issues are going to go away, and that's what I can't stand. Waz, what do you think?
I think Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and all of the people that were sort of at Billionaires Row during the inauguration are simply responding to incentives. Everybody knows, it's not a secret. Everybody knows Trump likes praise. He likes people. He likes fealty. He really likes rich people. And if you suck up to him, and you do him a solid, he will probably do one back for you. And so they're just following the path that has been so clearly laid out for them by Trump and his administration. Like, their office is for sale. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. And so Zuckerberg is just the latest in line. Like, you see all the pardons of all these, these white collar criminals. It's all of the same piece, right? Trump is for sale. That's the only point of this presidency. It's the only point of the tariffs. It's the only reason for being, is so this guy could personally enrich himself. And I think those problems that Facebook is facing in Europe are legitimate. Like, the European Union has given them a hard time regulatory wise. Obviously that issue in the courts with the FTC, that's a major problem for them. So this guy is just responding to his incentives. And yeah, we just happen to have probably the most corrupt president ever, which is saying a lot in the United States of America.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see these stories emerge right now. So there's a new tell-all book about Meta's history and how Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg have operated throughout the years. And Meta has fought ruthlessly to try to suppress any promotion of this book, ultimately turning it into a bestseller, Careless People by Sarah Wynne Williams, who used to work on government affairs within Meta. And I've been working through it and listening to it today before the show, and it's so relevant. What she talks about, what she exposes is so relevant to all of these points. So I want, like, on the moderation thing, yes, absolutely, Jen, total balancing act that you have to consider free speech considerations while also being mindful. In the past, Facebook has not been responsible. You can look no further than Myanmar with the Rohingya Muslims who were just wiped out, not wiped out, but there was a genocide. And what people were allowed to do with Facebook's knowledge resulted in real world harm. On the ad front in the EU, I would argue people should be able to have a personalized ad-free experience, because in that book she talks about how they knowingly allowed advertisers to target children when they were emotionally vulnerable. If they were feeling bad, depressed, Facebook's systems would identify that and serve them beauty ads or weight loss ads. Extremely manipulative tactics, ultimately for profit. But on this front, giving money to Trump, his inaugural fund, kissing his ass, it's a similar pattern with when they were trying to get into China. They were just throwing money around to NGOs who do human rights work to coerce them into silence so people wouldn't talk about China's human rights record. And it's a pattern of bribery and deceit from this company. We can't trust them or their motives. We can't trust them to self-regulate. We can't trust them to be responsible stewards of their company. And ultimately, like you're both saying, they're not unique in doing this. All of these companies are doing this. We have a story later we're gonna get into where Trump is charging $1 million per person at a Mar-a-Lago fundraiser this weekend. And who do you think's there? People who are directly impacted by these tariffs and want some sort of way out. He is easily bribable. It is totally corrupt. And for all of these complaints about the quote Biden crime family that we heard for years, that they were trading on their name for personal benefit, for personal profit, where are those complaints now?
Yeah, look, I gotta add to that. Look, so I know that a lot of people think Facebook is evil. I don't, and maybe I'm super biased because we're on Facebook. You might even see this video on Facebook. And by the way, they allow us to be on Facebook and to crap all over them, right? So, but the idea of self-regulation is a joke. Self-regulation means no regulation. Oh, we have put stringent standards on us to cost ourselves a lot of money because we're responsible. Yeah. Like, yeah, I'd like to see that once, right? So that's just nonsense way of saying we're not regulating. They got what they wanted. And to Jordan's point, look, they had 3 cases in a row, white collar criminals, and we talked about them on the show before. One guy gives $75 million to Donald Trump's meme coin. The SEC investigation against him is dropped. Another guy gives $1.8 million to Donald Trump's campaign. Right before he goes to prison, pardon. Plus, he doesn't have to pay restitution, which was a lot more than $1.8 million to his actual victims, who were average Americans, right? By the way, if you're right wing and you hated, corruption and you were for drain the swamp, you should despise those cases. You should be livid about that. But if you just want to be biased, go ahead. I mean, there's unfortunately like 80% of this country is so biased they can't see straight, right? But if you can see straight, those are terrible cases. And then there was one that was so gratuitous. So Aussie Media was a digital media company. Carlos Watson was going to go to prison and owed $96 million in restitution. Right before he goes to prison, pardon, you don't need to pay the restitution. Why? Like, I don't know if the Aussie people got him some campaign money or direct money or meme coins. I have no idea, okay? But if they didn't, it's almost worse because he's like, oh, you're a white collar criminal? You're convicted of fraud. Oh, no, take a poor guy, poor financial fraud where you ripped off the average American to get richer. Trump thinks there, but for the grace of God go I. He's pardoning all of them. It's just insane. It's totally insane. So Waz is right, Jordan's right. They're all gonna do this, right? So Facebook is gonna do this, not because they're particularly evil, because everybody's doing it. Like all these guys, and to be fair to them, they're like, look, Trump is bullying everyone and threatening everyone. And if he lets these cases go right or wrong, it can cost us hundreds of millions of dollars. So instead, I give the corrupt schmuck a couple of $1 million, I make it go away. Which business person in this type of atmosphere wouldn't do that? Like you'd have to be super honest like us not to do that, right? But do you know a lot of super honest tech billionaires? Okay, so if that's what we're relying on, that kind of self-regulation, we're all in a world of hurt.
Yeah, one other thing, what we're talking about is in part breaking up Facebook or Meta's monopoly. They have all these different avenues, all these different channels. That would be the end result if this case was successful. Could you imagine a scenario where a Donald Trump presidency and Trump's federal lawyers actually make that happen? Of course not. So I think the most accurate prediction here is he's going to make Zuckerberg sweat. He's going to see what else he can get out of him, and then I think they'll back off. But I can't imagine this results in part of Facebook's or Meta's monopoly being broken up.
Yeah, and I think it's important for folks to understand that this Trump stuff seems egregious and it seems, preposterous because it is, but also it's in keeping peace with like what presidents do. They just tend to enrich themselves afterwards, right? Like the Clintons become mega rich after Bill Clinton leaves office. Don't think that has nothing to do with the actions that he took vis-a-vis these business interests while he was in office. Barack Obama, the sainted pope of the Democratic Party, Barack Obama, got $100 million from Jeff Bezos to do his personal library to himself. Okay, Netflix gave this guy untold millions, him and his wife, to make mediocre movies and documentaries. This is the game, ladies and gentlemen. It's just Donald Trump is just so crass and just has no patience. He can't wait to be out of office. He's doing the money grubbing while he's still in it.
Yeah, well, one of the things that he'd have to do out of office is write a book. And the only thing he's done so far is picture books. So, okay, but super last thing, because it's such a good point by Waz. Hillary Clinton, after she stopped being senator before she ran for president, went and gave speeches at the banks for millions and millions of dollars. How is that not bribery? Like, I get it, she was a citizen at the time, it was legal, I understand that, right? But everybody knew she was gonna run for president. It wasn't like they were like, oh my God, I can't wait to hear this 45-minute speech. I bet it's worth millions. The wisdom that I gained from it. So we've been doing official and unofficial corruption and bribery in this country for decade after decade, right? So it's just that Trump is so ham-handed about it that one side flips out. And so I know this is too much to ask for all the other media, but how about you be honest and principled and call out Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton? I know, revolutionary thought. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.